Hey guys, okay, so now we're going to go over the excretory system. Now remember, the excretory system is the removing of all of the liquid waste from your body. Okay, so when we're talking about waste, we're talking about chemicals from your different metabolic activities that your cells go through, and toxic substances like drugs. So any form of drug that you take, no, I don't just mean the drugs y'all know about, but I mean like medicine, okay? Those are also considered drugs and poisons as a whole, okay? So we're going to go over the basics of each part, okay? These are some of the parts of the system that you should have already labeled and gone over in the notes and the quiz. So let's get started with our kidneys. Okay, so this is one kidney that is open, okay, so they kind of cut it open and laid it out flat along the axis so you can see it in the two halves, so you can see inside the kidney. So a kidney is, if you look, it's this fetal pig kidney is about 3 centimeters wide, okay? That's pretty tiny. Now, us as humans, our kidneys are a little bit bigger, okay, but they do look kind of like a pea, like the shape of a pea. But the kidney has 3 different regions inside of it. Okay, so internally, they have the outer cortex, so what's on the outside edges, okay, the middle, okay, which is called the medulla, and it has the renal pyramids, okay, and then the outermost renal pelvis, okay. So here, we're going to look more closely. As blood enters the kidney through what's called the renal artery, okay, we'll go over all these arteries and everything in the circulatory system. It's forced through small tubules, okay, and these small tubes are called nephrons. The nephron is the functional unit of the kidney. So for the kidney to do everything that it needs to do to get rid of all these wastes and filter out the waste from our blood, it uses these nephrons. So these are the pictures of the nephrons focused in, okay? They filter the water and different waste from the blood, and that is where we form urine, okay? So the urine is passed through the collecting ducts, okay, and then goes into the renal pelvis, which is where it's going to go through our ureters. So this is the renal pelvis, okay, so this is where all of the urine is going to drain into. So we started out here, okay, with our nephrons, okay, our nephrons filtering out all of the waste from our blood, and then they send it into the renal pelvis. This is where it drains urine into the ureter. This is the opening of the ureter, which is the tube that transfers the urine from the kidney to your bladder. So now we're going to skip the renal blood vessels because we're going to focus on that for our circulatory system, and we're going to go straight to our ureters. Okay, so this is an opening dissection. We see one kidney here and the second kidney here. You all have 2 kidneys. You can live with just one, okay, but then you would have to be very careful with what you eat and what you drink. Now, urine is formed in the kidneys, and it's filtered from the blood, okay? Now, the 2 ureters, you have one from one kidney, one from the other. This is a small picture right here of one of them, okay? They're just plain old tubes, okay, that exit the kidneys and reaches the bladder, okay? There is kind of this plastic tube that they entered in, okay, to show where they join at the bladder. Okay, so you can see this one tube and then this other tube, and then here is the bladder. Now, if you look, the bladder looks really thin and skinny. That's because there's no urine in it, okay? Now, when there is urine, it's going to kind of fill up like a balloon. But there's your tubes from your kidneys to your bladder called your ureters. So now we'll go over the bladder as a whole. So, urine is stored in the urinary bladder, okay? And so once you have the bladder full, there's messengers that are sent to your brain, okay, that tells you, hey, we need to pee, so we need to get rid of this. Then the urine exits the bladder to the urethra. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the picture of the ureters. So here you can't really see the urethra because it's so small, but the urethra is the equivalent of your pee hole. Okay, so that's where you pee from. So here is the bladder, the ureters connect, and then your urethra is at the other end of the bladder to then be released out as waste. Okay, so now that we're done with our excretory system dissection, you can go back and take your excretory system dissection quiz. And if y'all have any questions or need any help, please message me on the hub, text me through Remind, or DM me through my teacher Instagram, miss.taylor3. Okay, so this is the end of the dissections for this week, and I'll check in with you guys again next week. Bye.